Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. I'm shaking my head today, guys. I'm shaking my head. We're talking about inherited hopelessness. You know, when you look at that title in itself, we're basically talking about generational traumas. Things that people don't choose, but they get. Deception. I know a person that lies a lot, and his son is a liar, and then every time he gets mad at his son says to him, "But you're a liar." I know a woman who is promiscuous, and she doesn't want her daughter to be promiscuous, but all her daughter seen her mother do is be promiscuous. I know a thief who gets mad at the fact that his children steal from him when he's a thief. I know someone who is lazy, and they get mad at the fact that other people are lazy. Inherited hopelessness, guys. A lot of people have inherited hopelessness. Certain things you didn't choose. Because the one thing I realize about humans is humans are naturally creatures of habit. And the habits you have learned, sometimes they're not from you. It's called generational trauma. Generational inheritance. We're willing, right? You're writing your will for your death certificate to your children. You're giving them exactly who you are. Generational trauma. Generational trauma. It's kind of sad when you sit back and have the discussions, when you're seeing that people are only regurgitating exactly what they were taught. I move with this movement. It's called exposure leads to expansion. I genuinely believe that most people won't get far because of the lack of exposure. Their minds are hopeless. They don't believe that anything is possible. And it's sad when you hear this. We're in a generation of people who are just hopeless, who don't believe they can do anything more than what they're doing. They don't believe in themselves. Because it's hard to believe when you've never seen. It's hard to believe something that you've never seen. It's hard to believe something you've never seen. Let me say that again. It's hard to believe something that you have never seen. I sit back every day and I have discussions. And it's sad that the people that have seen more laugh about the people who have seen less and still believe that everyone should be on the same trajectory when they don't have the same experiences. Let me say that again. It's sad when you meet people who believe that everyone should be on the same trajectory when they haven't experienced the same experiences. Some people come from broken home, therefore they create broken homes. Some people come from drug addict parents, then you wonder why they're addicted to drugs. They've been generationally gifted substance abuse. The median wealth for white households was $284,000 compared to $44,000 for black households. The wealth discrepancy between black and white families has grown, with the black households holding only $15 for every 100 in wealth held by white homes in 2022. When you go to a black home, you'll see every Louis Vuitton and every Gucci there is. You'll see every luxury vehicle when you go to the projects. I watched a video of a woman wheeling Louis Vuitton luggage into the project building after getting a BBL. I watched a woman wheel Louis Vuitton luggage into a project building after getting the BBL. Some things we got to realize that we have to start being accountable for our decisions. When I say hopeless, I realize that we would rather fake it and never make it because wealth does not look like what we were taught. Let me say that again for somebody on my live. And if you agree, let me get some tapping of that screen and let me get some damn comments. The wealth does not look like what we was taught. Let me say that one more time. Somebody ain't hearing me. Somebody ain't hearing me. Wealth does not look like what we were taught. I come from a hopeless mentality. I come from where I believe that I had a luxury vehicle and had a good amount of substantial cash set aside at that time, which is maybe 20, 30 grand. I thought I was rich and you couldn't tell me nothing. Because this is a teaching. This is a programming. Hopelessness is the feeling of despair or lack of hope that life will improve. It can involve negative attitudes about the future and can lead to low motivation and disengagement, right? Hopelessness, right? This is what we're talking about. A lot of people are hopeless. An inheritance of hopelessness. We're gifted hopelessness. We're gifted it. There are people right now who don't see that they were gifted this mentality. And it's on them to change their mentality. Otherwise, they'll never be able to change their reality. Programming, right, is why they don't want to. That's why we don't want to say the powers that be control media. Because you can program minds to behave the way you want. I don't have to physically put shackles on you no more. I could put mental shackles on you, which would allow you to only go to a certain magnitude. This is your level. And this is all you will see because this is what you're taught to be. Right? The blindfold that never existed. Right? We inherited hopelessness. We're taught how to be horrible. And everything starts with an excuse. Ultimately leading to a behavior which give you ultimate actions. Is an excuse that leads to actions that ultimately becomes your routine, your character. A lot of people are characterly flawed. They're flawed. When you ask that question, what do you mean flawed? Look at the behaviors of some people. There are some people who are 30, 40, 50 years old and still can't hold themselves accountable to any bad decision they ever made. They're still blaming the white man for the fact that they sold drugs and went to prison. They're still blaming their fathers for not being there, for being a bad man. They're still blaming their daddies for being promiscuous. They're still blaming their environment for continue to be a poor mentality. But I'm going to tell you something. A dream is an action a dream is a thought, right? Backed by action. That leads to results. A lot of us don't believe that a dream can start with a thought that leads to your actions that give you results. One will never surpass a certain level if you don't surpass a certain mentality. The inheritance of hopelessness. I don't think I can. Why should I? Pouring negativity into yourself. You have a cup of disbelief and you're drinking it. You're creating the Kool-Aid that you're drinking. It's called Fool-Aid. I listen to people tell me stuff, right? And when I listen to them, it fascinates me that they believe their own madness. And when you're talking to them, it's like talking to a child. Because if you give them any level of excuse, they're going to run with it. You give them any level of, you know what, your life may be because of it's lit. They want that excuse. And this is what the reasoning for most to fail. I remember we was having a discussion, and I'm going to say this. It was a room full of my people, a couple of people I'm cool with. And as we were talking, every time you hear my culture talk about what we couldn't do and what we shouldn't do, all you do is go to the excuse, to the reasoning why. But I've noticed that we don't go to the solution to what we should be doing. Let me say that one more time. Every time I talk to my coach, I'm going to be honest and fair. We always talk about the problem. But the one thing I've noticed is that we're evasive of the solution. We know what the problem is, but yet and still we do not talk about the solution, ultimately giving value to the excuse, which keeps us at our excuse. Every time you create an excuse, it's like starting a race and putting yourself back at the starting point. Every time you give yourself an excuse, it's like taking yourself from the middle of the race you ran and putting yourself back at the starting point. It's like going to the gym it's like going to the gym and then go eat reckless or go eat fast food. Then you wonder why you're not getting results. Because it's a discipline. It's a mentality that it takes for you to get to these levels. You have to be able to have these conversations with yourself. My mama could have been, my daddy could have been, but there is no excuse for me to continue this porous behavior. I know it's wrong. I have men that tell me that my daddy was a bum, but yet and still they're bums to their kids. When you know for a fact what you've been through and you're still willing to give that same energy to your child, you are the bum. You worse than your damn dad. You worse than your father. Let me say that again. If you sat there and tell me how bad your father is, and then you give the same energy to your son, and you think that you're better than your father, you're the goddamn fool. You worse. That's like your homeboy just got caught stealing from Macy's, and you went right behind him to go steal too. That's exactly what it is. You saw the results, and you went and did the same damn thing. That is the biggest fool. That is the biggest goddamn fool. When you're sitting here telling me my daddy wasn't this, and then I'll be the same thing for my child, and I think that I'm better than my daddy, I'm a goddamn fool. I'm a goddamn fool. Right? But we don't want to have these conversations. It's the inheritance of hopelessness. I fear what I don't know, but I also brace what is to come. Let me say that again. I fear, and I'm being honest, I fear what I don't know, but I'm also willing to embrace what is to come. Because I'm not scared to go after my best version of self, because while you're on the path to becoming the best version of yourself, you will meet the ugliest version of yourself. And you got to be able to have the conversation of a lifetime with yourself. I know people who can't get past certain levels because they're not willing to tell themselves the truth. They're willing to give themselves an accommodation. You want a reward for not doing anything. You want a participation award for life. Life don't get participation awards. Either you're winning or you're losing. And losing is a conscious decision because you have to continue to do what losers are doing in order for you to keep losing. And that's a harsh reality that most don't want to accept. I'm going to give you a story, and I want you to hear this. A guy I'm cool with, we was having a discussion. In the midst of the discussion, we see that money is a problem for black culture. And the one thing he acknowledges to me is Jewish people are very frugal with their money. He said to me, Jewish people are very frugal. I said, okay. So if Jewish people are very frugal, why would you keep wasting money when you want to have money? So I asked him simply, I said, Jewish people got money? He said, yes. I said, and they're very frugal? He said, yes. I said, so why do you keep wasting money thinking you're going to be rich like the Jewish people? I said, what does that make sense? I said, what does that make sense? Black people are a multi-trillion-dollar earning entity every year, but yet and still we buy more liabilities than we buy assets. Let's hold ourselves accountable. Black people are a multi-trillion-dollar earning entity every year, but no one makes us buy liabilities. No one made you walk up in Louis. No one made you walk up in Gucci. No one made you walk up into a Balenciaga. No one made you do it. It's a choice. That's a choice. But the lack of accountability has become why we're losing. We're not accountable. I don't give a damn about no logo. I don't care. A Nike check ain't gonna make me get a check. Right? Balmain ain't gonna make me feel more of a man. And I'm just talking logical. We are a hopeless culture because of the fact that we don't see that we have more power than we actually give ourselves value. The one thing I genuinely believe that black culture should do is create a culture within the culture. And what I mean by that simply is paying back into your culture. When I saw a study that said that $1 in the black community lasts about 40 minutes, I was appalled. Said, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. But when you look at it, you see the flyest belts, the flyest shoes. I'm like, one thing I always realized, one of my mentors said, the flyest man in the room is usually the brokest. And the loudest person in the room is usually the softest. And I'm going to say that on record, I believe that to be true. I've learned to believe that is true. But you know why we don't navigate to anything greater is because of the fact that we believe that we are set. This is not, blacks did not start in America. Our life did not start during slavery. Whoever created you to believe that mentality, that's where the delusion is. Black culture did not start with slavery. Let me say that one more time. Black culture did not start with slavery. I don't know who believes that garbage. Study finds that people bet on sports instead of investing in stocks, right? More people are willing to do sports betting than they're willing to buy stocks, equities in companies. But who are we going to blame? No one is forcing you to do anything. When the moment you take back your life, you'll get back your life. The moment you start taking back your life, you'll get back your life. Until you start taking back your life, you will not control your life. You'll be controlled by people that control your life. And if brands control you, then you are a pawn in their game. You go to work every day to give them back the money that you work so hard to make. Let me say that again. You go to work every day to give them back the money that you so hardly worked for. Black consumers are highly digital, right? They are more likely to own a smartphone, and they use their phones 12% more than white Americans. They are nearly 3 times more likely than white Americans to expect the brands they use to align with their values and support social causes. This is what we believe. We believe that it's the money because I wear it on my back. I'm rich, and you'll never get rich. Keep supporting labels and logos. No one gives a damn. No one gives a damn. We inherit hopelessness. We inherited hopelessness. Yo, I swear we live in a weird world. A weird, weird world. Wigs got girls thinking they're not bald. Expensive cars with high car loans got people thinking that they're rich. People thinking they're young because they could TikTok dance with their children. Traveling out the country, then come back to a bad living situation. Crazy. People don't act their age anymore. They act their shoe size. If you tell somebody the truth, you a hater. Men think because they give money that makes them a good father, but they don't spend no time with their children. Women are more masculine than men. Being a baby mother is better than being a wife. Being a baby daddy is better than being a husband. Telling the truth is considered doing too much. Trying to help someone is considered controlling someone's life. Damn, we live in a weird world. A weird, weird world. I don't give a damn what nobody think about me, because 9 out of 10 times, the people that's laughing at me for not wearing logos, they broke as hell. Damn. The people I'm trying to impress, they gonna talk about me regardless. Damn. The people I think love me will love me for who I am. Damn. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I'd rather be broke, taking care of my family, than to pretend to be rich, watching my family suffer. Damn. Let me say that one more time. I would rather be broke, taking care of my family, than to be pretending. Let me say that one more time. I would rather be broke, taking care of my children and my family, than running around every day pretending as if I had money, watching my family suffer. That is a clown of all goddamn clowns. Let me give a laugh at you. Hold on, let me give that person that does that, I want to give him a laugh. Stone cold clown. Stone cold clown. One more time. I would rather be broke, taking care of my family, than pretend to be rich while my family suffers. And anyone that's in line with that belief, this is for you. Because I realized that life is not about pretending. Life is about being. And until you learn to be awoke, you will still be asleep. Most people are sleeping, right? Because the mentality hasn't woken up. We had a disbelief. We lack resources because we lack the mentality. Let me say that again. We lack resources because we lack a mentality to have resources. We lack resources because we lack the mentality to have resources. When you look at wealthy people, they tend to look at investing, whether black, white, blue, green, or anything else in between. There are black people that are extremely wealthy because when you sit with them, they're very frugal with their finances. And when you learn why they have money is because of their frugalness. Then you look at the culture that don't have money, right? You'll see why. It's a mentality that allows them to stay in a poverty situation. You can have a person that lives in a basement apartment, and when they have a Birkin bag, they feel rich. That is a goddamn shame. Someone said it takes too much energy and money to pretend. I agree with you 100%. But it's frustrating when you talk to people because you see how much hopeless mentalities are in the world. So many people are very hopeless. I got people that brag about being from the hood and not looking at it as, I had a guy tell me that his grandfather, his father, and him, all 3 generations are from the hood. And he thought he was saying something. And I said, that's 3 generations of staying in the hood and none of y'all own a goddamn thing there. He thought he was saying something though. He said, my grandfather, my father, and me, we all from the same hood. And I said, damn, that's sad that nobody realized that it was time to get up out of there. Nobody realized it was time to go. But if you talk like this, you offend. But I don't give a damn. Somebody got to address the elephant that's in the room. The elephant been sitting in the room for way too damn long. Everyone act like this elephant don't exist. It's sitting here and it's standing out and it's transparent as hell because an elephant is huge. If you put an elephant in the room, if you don't see it, then you blind as hell. And if we can't see the issue that's going on in our culture, then we all blind. You have something called worker bees and you have something called the queen bee. And the queen bee owns the plantation that keeps us on it so the queen can sit back and enjoy the resources, right? While we have to kill ourselves every day for it, right? This is what we need to realize. I took back my own life because I realized that no one was going to fix me but me. I took back my own life because I realized that no one was going to help me but me. I took back my life because I realized that these European schools that we go to, right, they only teach white supremacy. And this is the issue that we have in our culture. I know people that'll rob a black man and will ignore the white man. Jogging. I know people, listen what I just said to you. And I'm not telling you go out and rob somebody. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm just saying is, it's sad how fast we are to hurt our own. It's sad how fast we are to kill our own. It's sad how fast we are to envy our own. It's sad how fast we are to not see that this person come from the same situation as you, but it's on you, right? It's on you to awaken your senses and understand that I can if he can. I can if she can. I will do exactly what he and she did to get there so I can get there. But believing that you're going to find a shortcut, you are every bit of delusional. You smoke crack if you think like that. You smoking crack, right? You smoking moon rock. If you believe that there's a shortcut, right? And no one is exempt from life, right? No one is exempt. If anyone makes poor decisions, you will get poor results. Everyone needs to take back their life. I'm tired of hearing people tell me stuff like Tesla, Google, Amazon, Apple, right? And these companies going to be worth more as we get older, but yet and still they won't put a goddamn dollar into these damn companies. You want equities. Equity is the power. Equity is the power. You want equity, value. This is what you want. When you buy those $200 jeans, those $700 bags, those $1,000 sneakers, you realize how they become worthless. When you sit down and see those shoes, how much they really cost to make, and you see how much you're willing to spend to get this garbage. They showed a study, a bag, I don't remember the company, it's one of the luxury bags. It costs $50 to make this damn bag, and people pay $1,500 for a damn $50 bag. That is an inheritance of hopelessness. Mommy did it, grandma did it, and now daughter doing it, and guess what daughter's teaching her daughter how to do it? It's a cycle, generational of inheritance, of liabilities, a generation of inheritance of losing, a generational inheritance of renting, a generational inheritance of being employed, but not realizing that me going to my employer and taking my money and putting it into position to employ makes me a boss. Y'all ain't hear me. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. I have all these bosses that's broke. I'm going to tell you something. Self-employed ain't no boss. Let me say that again. Being self-employed ain't no boss. Having an LLC ain't no boss. A boss is one who cuts checks and provides for families and makes sure that families are eating and paying bills because of their sacrifices. That's a boss. A boss is not one because you're self-employed. Self-employed is self-employed. And the sad part about most people that are self-employed, if you really break it down, if you're self-employed, most people that are self-employed work more hours than the person that actually employed. So if you're self-employed, right, you're working more hours. That means you're actually making less money if you're making 80, 60, 100K a year. And then you look at the expenses and the overhead that you have to keep and sustain that empire. So you actually have to do more work. We got to break this mentality. You don't have to own a company to be a boss. You have to have a mentality to be a boss, because when you go get your income from these jobs, you should be investing to make you money. Money is supposed to be working because it's a tool. If I'm raking a yard, I have to get a rake. If I'm digging a hole, I need a shovel, right? If I need to water my grass, I need a sprinkler. If I need to build a house, I need nails, and I need a hammer, and I need wood, and I need a diagram or a blueprint. But if I want financial freedom, I have to employ my money. Let me say that again. If I'm raking a yard, I need a rake. If I'm digging a hole, I need a shovel. If I'm watering the grass, I need a hose. Right? But if I'm trying to be financial free, I have to employ my money. People don't understand. I got a guy recently that I talked to, and I showed him about investing in stocks. He put only a small amount. Let's say hypothetically he put $100 in. And when he looked at his account the other day, he's up $30. So I said, you made 30% on your money. He said, yeah. I said, how does that feel? He said, amazing. I said, now imagine if you would have had $100,000 in and you would have made 30% on your money, you'll be up $30,000. This is the mentality that a lot of people don't possess because they inherited hopelessness. Your mother told you that the bank gonna rob you for your money. Your mother and father told you that don't invest with black people because you know why, they're gonna steal from you. This is the levels of trauma that we inherited. The Black Wall Street, all of these things, when you sit back and evaluate it, we've been procreated to believe that we're supposed to be stuck in certain situations forever. And this is the mentality that I'm trying to break, because I realize that in order to fix the culture, you must fix the people. In order to fix the culture, you got to fix the people. Because I always ask people, if you have a cold, you know you have to get cough medicine, right? If you have COVID, you might need rest and sleep, right? If you have diarrhea, you're going to be staying next to a toilet. But the one thing I always ask this question is, how do you feel the sickness when the sickness is the people? It's the people that's sick. We could sit back every day and blame everybody for us, but at the end of the day, I wonder why they're so scared of us. Because we are the superior beings, and I'm going to say that on record. I don't give a damn who get mad. We are. It's just the truth. And anyone that don't agree is because they lying to themselves. When you see something that has to be so oppressed, it's because it's naturally so gifted. When everyone usually teams up against you, why is that? Because you are the one. You're the Neo, you're the one, you're the descendant of our creator. We know who we are, but we choose not to accept it. We've been hearing for generations that we come from kings and queens and we still behave like peasants. We've been told for generations that we come from kings and queens, but yet and still believe that we come from peasants. And this is the culture. I will no longer act like I'm not a king when I know I am. I will no longer act like trash when I do not come from a garbage. And if you do come from something that's not of a status, it's on you to break that mold. You cannot sit back and keep saying that the inheritance that I have, my mama, my daddy, it doesn't matter. Your mama and your daddy was nothing. It is what it is. God bless them and move on. But you can be the greatest mother and father that your children could have ever had by breaking your generational curse. We got to wake up and see that we control our destiny more than we give value. The one thing I always admired, when I was younger, I used to work at a Jewish synagogue. And that's how I actually learned how to save. There was a guy, it was two guys, matter of fact. His name was Bert Roslin, and there was a guy by the name of Cyrus Jester, two Jewish guys. And one day I was sitting with them, and the one thing they both said to me is, it's not about what you make, it's what you can save. And in that moment, I couldn't understand it. At 17, 16, 18, I was taught instantly that you're supposed to pay yourself first. I always had saving habits, but I never had the investment habits. I didn't understand that saving only makes sense when the money is appreciating. If you leave money in a bank account, it's losing value, which is purchasing power. Money loses 4 to 6% of purchasing power every year. I didn't understand that aspect. I knew that I had to save, but I didn't understand that I had to invest. And therefore, my money was losing value because of the fact that I like to look at my account, right, and see numbers, but I didn't understand that money is better put in walls, meaning assets, than it is sitting in the bank account. I'm gonna tell you something crazy. The bank will make 30% on your money and give you not even 1%. Let me say that again. A bank will literally make 30, 40, 50% on your money and only give you 1%. The average interest rate for a savings account in the United States is 0.45% APY, right? That's what it is, 0.45%. That is the average bank account savings account interest that they give you. They give you crumbs on your money. Crumbs. But yet and still they make 30, 40, 50%, and then they lend your money to you on a credit card. Damn. Let me say that again. Damn. Look at them credit cards interest rates. And then you see they get your money and then they lend your money and make money on your money and give you crumbs for borrowing your money. And you think you leveling up. Wow. That's delusion. That is the level of delusion. It's an inheritance of the hopelessness. We've inherited hopelessness to the point where most people don't believe that they can change their life. I know people who go to the same ocean, right? Matter of fact, lake, and fish for friends and get the same trash friends and go right back to that same lake and get the same trash friends and wondering, maybe it's where I'm comfortable fishing at that's bringing me these same friends. I know men and women who go to the same lake and fish for mates and get the same boyfriend and girlfriends, and then they get mad at their results and they blame the people, but they don't look at themselves like, damn, why do I feel so comfortable even entertaining these kind of people? Because it is always so much easier to point the finger than it is to accept that you're the problem. And once one can accept that they're the problem, then they can also fix the problem. One can't fix the problem when one can identify that they're the problem. You have to be able to self-reflect. Because once you can self-reflect, you can self-project. You don't hear me? Once you can self-reflect, you can self-project. You don't have to be a millionaire to carry yourself as a successful person. The whole point of money is not making money and then learning money. The whole point of money is learning money, and then while you're making money, you'll know what to do with your damn money. Let me say that again. The whole premise of making money is learning money before you make money, so you'll know what to do when you make money. Why do you think so many sports athletes go broke? Because of the fact that they try to learn money after they make money. Let me say that again. Why do you think so many athletes and entertainers go broke? Because they try to learn money after they make money. But the reality is you're supposed to learn money before you make money, so therefore you know what to do when you get money. You don't wait till you get to the 12th grade to learn how to do 12th grade homework. You should have been preparing yourself from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. By 11th grade, when you're getting to 12th grade, now you're prepared because you've been prepared since 11th grade. I get frustrated when I have these conversations. For those who like my content, tap that damn screen. Because I know I talk that talk. And I'm giving myself my damn flowers because people won't give it to you. So guess what? I pat myself on the back and look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of you. Because you know where you've come from. You know what you've been through. You know how much of your life you've changed. You know what you was able to teach yourself that your family don't even know. You was able to teach yourself things that your family don't even know. But when you look at the fact that they don't know, because you always look at people with the same level of strength, everyone don't have the same mental capacity. Everyone can't take on the same task. Everyone is not willing to do the same damn workload. And you might be that one that is. And you will be the one that changes your genealogy. You will be the one that educates yourself. You will be the one that go back to school. You will be that person that get a degree. You will be that person that stay consistently working. I know people who come from families that never worked. Let me say that again. I know people who come from families that never worked. Their whole generational tree is based on welfare and social services. There's a video me and Tyler was just watching. The young man said, he asked the young guy, he said, are you going to leave the hood? He said, I'm never going to leave the hood. He said, I don't have no goals. And then he said, what do you mean you don't have no goals? He said, he said, are you going to leave the hood? He said, no. And he asked him, why wouldn't you leave the hood? He said, why would I leave the hood when I can have 8 kids? The government going to take care of me. He said, you know how much food stamps I get if I have 8 kids? And then he said, why would I leave when there's Chinese food, a chopped cheese, and a Don Julio, which is alcohol, is all on the same block. He ain't got to go nowhere. And it's sad that that young man is so hopeless that he believed that that is normal. And this is what you're starting to see. You see a culture of broken people who are doing broke things, not realizing this is why we stay broke. Because before one can be broke, he has to be broken. Because a broken mentality behaves such, therefore they get broken results. And when you see a broken mentality, you see that they only preach broken information. When you see a broken mentality, all you see is them act broken. When you see a broken mentality, they do broken things. When you see a broken mentality, they can only attach themselves to broken people. And this is the broken mentality. This is our culture. And it's sad because I don't come from this. I know Sojourner Truth. I know Huey P. Newton. I know Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman said one of the greatest lines, and I want everybody to hear this. Harriet Tubman said she freed a lot of slaves, and she would have freed a lot more if they knew they were slaves. Y'all don't hear me. Damn. Let me say that one more time. The greatest activist to me is Harriet Tubman. That's my favorite activist ever. Harriet Tubman. Because Harriet Tubman got herself the freedom and still went back to go get more people. And I commend Harriet Tubman for having the balls to do that. Most people would get to freedom and say, to hell with everybody else. I'm good. The one thing I will say that Harriet Tubman said, the quote of all quotes to me is she said, Harriet Tubman quoted, said, I freed a lot of slaves and I would have freed a lot more if they knew they were slaves. Damn. What I'm getting at is there are people that are still on a plantation with a plantation mentality and not realizing that they're the slaves that will not be freed because of their mentality. They believe that they're only destined to be failures. They believe that they're only destined to have so much. They believe that we can't control ourselves. We need to do more because in order to have more, you got to be willing to do more. I would have freed more slaves if they knew they were slaves. Damn. Someone call in right now. 516-253-1150. Someone call in right now. Someone add some value to this damn conversation. 516-253-1150. It's time to get back to the books and lose the internet. Someone is 100% right. Let me give you your flowers. Us waiting for someone to fix our culture is like waiting for a bus that doesn't have a bus stop at that route that you're waiting at. As a matter of fact, let me make it worse. Us waiting for someone to fix our culture is like driving to the end of a dead-end block and waiting for them to build a goddamn road. Let me say that again. Us waiting for someone to fix our culture is like going to a dead-end block and sitting there like this, right? Waiting for them to build a road so you can continue to drive forward. It ain't never gonna goddamn happen. Someone calling right now, 516-253-1150. Put it on there, T. 516-253-1150. I want to have a conversation with somebody. We need to talk about what can we do. That person that just said that in that comment, I want you to actually call in and talk about it. What can we do to fix this culture? What can we do to fix this culture? How can we break this mentality? How can we break this mentality? I know people who can't sit still to hear anything that can of importance that can change their life. They'd rather watch foolishness. Boring is the new fun. When it's boring, that means you're learning. You got to learn how to make the new information that you want to learn fun. That's the problem. Most of the classes that we failed at or we didn't pay attention to was the most important classes. It was the most important classes. And we're still avoiding these classes to this day. And this is becoming our culture. I hate when people look at my culture as a joke because I work so hard not to be a clown. Let me say that again. I hate when people look at my culture as a joke because I work so hard not to be considered a clown. But some people don't care. That's the issue. We inherited hopelessness. We genuinely believe that something will come from doing nothing. A lot of us are stuck in our mentality. I don't give a damn about what your daddy was. I don't give a damn about your mother was. I give a damn about what you aren't doing. Because if you know what's wrong, you have to do what's right. But if you continue to do what's wrong and think it's going to become right, you're the fool. Imagine your parents dying, right? And they're doing their will. And while they're doing their will, they're writing down exactly what they're giving you. You know what they're giving you? Debt. DEBT. They're giving you debt. They're giving you hopelessness. They're giving you fear. They're giving you scarcity. They're giving you everything and every tool for you not to build the greatest home that you could possibly build. And then we wonder why, as a culture, we're losing. I wanted to be so street that I was so proud of the street, not realizing they made sidewalks for safety, and the people that play in the street are the ones that end up losing. But we still want to play in the street. There are people who are scared to leave environments because they're scared they're going to miss something. Watch this narrative. I want y'all to hear this. For those who from the hood, from those who from bad, quote-unquote, environments, I want everybody in my life that come from bad environments right now to answer this question. If you leave that bad environment for 3 years, right? 3 years. 12 times 3 is what? 36. If you leave that bad environment for 36 months and you come back in 36 months, I bet you 99% of them will still be in the same position they was when you left. I promise you that. I promise you that. You can leave that environment for years. Come back, you'll see the same exact thing going on. 50 said, we in the club doing the same old two-step. We in the club doing the same old two-step. And not realizing that we getting the same old two results. Losing and failure. Losing and failure. Because we won't change our mentality. We're looking for someone to save us. But I'm going to tell you something. Before you got in that water, you should have put on a life raft, a life jacket. Before you got in that ocean, you should have put on a life jacket. Because sitting there waiting for someone to save you when they're in competition with you is a fool. Let me say that again. Sitting there waiting for someone to save you that's in competition with you, then you're a goddamn fool. Because you got to realize, in order to oppress, you have to keep a mentality at a certain level. And while this mentality stays at this certain level, they will stay at the certain results. When you look at people, right, that create expensive brands, when you look at these expensive brands, more broke people spend more money on expensive brands than wealthy people. They put expensive brands on rich people, right, because they realize that the poor people will go out their way to try to keep up with the rich people. So it's basically like cattle. What I would do is put a Burberry shirt on this person. Why? Because it's the influence. I realize that if I can make you go follow this person, therefore you will support my vision, which makes me money. And that's exactly what they're doing to us. We're cattle. This is a sad situation. I look at my culture and I say this, I'm a proud black man. And I wouldn't change what I am for nobody. I wouldn't change my struggles. I wouldn't change my adversity. I wouldn't recreate nothing. I walk in a room full of black people, I'm a black man. I walk in a room full of white people, I'm a black man. I walk in a room full of Hispanics, I am still a black man. I will always be a black man. There is no confusion with me. And I will say my lineage did not start from slavery. A lot of us need to break this mentality. We think that this is where it started. You got to do your roots. You got to study your history. You got to open them books back up so you can open that mind back up. Once you open them books back up, you start opening that mind back up. But your mind can't open if the books are not being opened, right? And this is what we do. We procreate a foolish mentality. It's funny, and I'm going to say this. I'm not a politic guy. I don't like politics. I stay away from it. But I'm going to say something. When you look at broke white Americans, they believe that they have a level of entitlement. And a lot of them are in worse situations than us. More white Americans are definitely on welfare. Let me say that again. More white Americans are on welfare than black Americans. Black Americans make about 14% of the country's population. So when you hear people keep thinking that blacks are the only ones on welfare, they're delusional. If welfare was removed today, a lot of white people would be living worse than they live today. When people don't travel, they don't see. Let's head to the middle of America. Let's go to Texas. Let's go to Mississippi. Let's go to Alabama. And you'll see that a lot of people living in poverty that don't look like me. It's the whole system. This is how it's created. The only time they care about a poor white American when it's election time, when they tell them what they want to hear to get their vote. And I'm not going to talk about none of that no more, but I just want you to understand that. But a lot of times we think that we're the only ones in the struggle. But reality, struggle is a mentality that's being created to keep the wealthy wealthy. In order for the wealthy to stay wealthy, they need people to keep running their plantations. There was a guy, he said, he come from the hood. That's what he said, right? He said this statement, and it was amazing when he said, I'm from the hood. He said, I've never been to Harvard. I've never been to Yale. I've never been Cornell. I've never been to no major school. I've never even been to college. But you know what he said? He said, but I could employ a bunch of people who went to them institutions. This is what we got to break out of, guys. We got to break out of this mentality. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the worst fight is black people fighting against each other. Because we think that if you get a little bit more than me, you become a threat. But in reality, as a black man or a black woman get more, they become more of a threat to the oppressors. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's white people, because there's a bunch of broke white people. And it's sad. We keep thinking that it's just the white. It's the wealthy. America is a rich and a poor world. They're trying to remove the middle class. By removing the middle class, they want everyone to be under poverty. In the next coming years, you're about to see your first trillionaire. And the day you see your first trillionaire, you know what you're going to see? More trillionaires. And then when you see more trillionaires, you're going to see more billionaires. And when you see more billionaires, you're going to see a millionaire status is going to be the new 100,000 hairstylist. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying. I'm going to say that one more time. We're about to get our first trillionaire. And when you get your first trillionaire, you're going to get more trillionaires. And then when you get more trillionaires, you're going to get more billionaires. And when you get more billionaires, you're going to see that $1 million status is the new poverty. Y'all do not hear me. I remember at one point when you said you made $100,000, it was significantly a lot of money. But $100,000 ain't nothing no more because of the fact that it's highly taxed, because they realized that I can go after the middle class to keep us wealthier. So the working class keeps paying the salary of the wealthy, keeping us at a poverty mentality, which giving us poverty results. An inheritance of hopelessness is a mentality that they're procreating, so therefore we can still be employed. The plantations have not went away at all. People is still picking cotton and still selling their labor and not realizing while selling your labor, you're supposed to be investing the money from your labor. So therefore, you don't have to continuously kill yourself on those plantations. Let me give you an analogy. And I want y'all to hear this good. Guys, if you like this analogy, tap that screen. Listen to this. If you go to a job, and I want y'all to hear this good. If you go to a job, and the job pays you every day in seeds, right? They give you vegetable seeds and fruit seeds, right? They give you seeds. What are you supposed to do with the seeds that you're receiving? You're supposed to plant the seeds, right? at your own plantation. So therefore, you can start eating from your own garden. That's the same analogy of how money works. When you go to the plantation and you don't take your seeds, which is your money, and plant it, you will never harvest freedom. Damn. Let me say that one more time. Oh my God, y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. If you go to a job and they pay you in seeds every day, watermelon seeds, whatever seeds you like to eat, they give you seeds. Your job is to go take those seeds and go to your plantation, which is your home, and plant those seeds. And while you're planting those seeds, you're able to harvest your own freedom. Someone said plant the seeds where? Stocks, annuities, equities, trust, right? CDs, right? Bonds. This is where you're supposed to park your money into equities, so therefore you're able to harvest your freedom. And a lot of people that are wealthy have learned how to invest, right? See, this is what I said earlier. Someone said, easier said than done for most. This is the hopeless mentality. This episode is called Inheritance of Hopelessness. Every time you speak positive, someone will find the negative because they don't believe they can. This is what they do. And this is why our culture has not found a solution, because all we do is talk about the problem. And as long as you stay on the problem, right, you'll see that you could never fix the problem, because we got to talk about the solution. I'm spinning mines now, and I'm hoping for a decent person to nurse me later. Good luck. I hope that works out for you. You know, good luck. Hope that works for you. Because me, I'm not doing that. Because to believe that you're going to waste all your resources and then look for someone to take care of you later, that's a dangerous mentality, man. I wouldn't want to be you. I would not want to be you thinking like that. But as I said, we are in a generation of hopelessness. A lot of us are sitting there writing our wills. And you know what's in our wills? We're giving our children debt. We're giving our children poverty. We're giving them scarcity. We're giving them fear. We're not pouring into the next generation for them to be greater than what we were. Because a lot of us instill the same fear as the generation before us. So, someone said something to me one time, Tyler. They said, I don't invest in stocks because I know a person that lost a lot of money. So I asked the person, that was good, what are you doing? The person asked me, why do you, someone said to me, and I want you to hear this good. What's going on, Karen? Someone said to me, I don't invest in stocks. And I said, why you don't invest in stocks? You know what the person said to me? Because I know someone that lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the stock market. So I asked the person, who is the person? The person said, oh, one of my colleagues, one of my coworkers. I said, give me the person's number. The person said, what do you mean? I said, give me the person number that lost all that money in the stock market. I want to call them and I want to see what they've done wrong so I don't follow the same routine. The person wouldn't give me the person's number. You know why? Because that is like folklore. That is a story that's been passed on from generations to generation to generation, and this person is only repeating what they heard, never seeing that in reality, but they're only preaching what they've heard, and they cannot validate it by giving me a name. I said, that is sad. So you're telling me that you know someone that you can't give me the name, the number to, so I can talk to this person and see where they went wrong, but yet still you're giving out this information. This is how Black people teach. A lot of it is opinion, feelings, impulse, emotion. No logic. Because if you look at logic, right, watch this. 9 out of 10 people freak that. Everyone that works a job and they have an IRA, 401k, or a pension, their money is in the stock market. How are you being retired? From the stock market. The average returns in the stock market is 10% a year, doing absolutely nothing. And that's the issue with our culture. This is the scarcity. That's his prerogative. He's entitled to what he wants. He's trolling, though. He's trolling. But again, this is the scarcity mentality that a lot of us have built up. And then you teach the next generation to have the same, if not worse, level of scarcity. And then you see generations of people who don't have anything because of the fact that they don't realize that we have to break a certain mentality, because our mentality is a reflection of our reality. Let me say that again. Our mentality is a reflection of our mentality. And until someone not break their mentality, they will never be able to fix their reality. I've learned stocks by choosing to learn stocks. I learned investing by choosing to learn investing. I am not Haitian, but I speak Creole because I chose to learn Creole. When you choose to do something, then you are the key and you are the driver back to your life. I think somebody on this live today need to take their life back in their own hands and stop waiting for something to come from doing nothing. I told you, imagine going to the end of the block. That's a dead end. And you're waiting for them to build the road for you to continue your success. I suggest someone throw that car in reverse, back that car out, and go on your way. But if you keep waiting, we're going to get this caller before we get out of here today. Caller, what's going on, caller? Hold on one second. Caller.
I'm listening to your live right now, and I have a question, and I actually want to point out something to you.
I'm listening.
I'm 26 years old, and I'm a Haitian background. I'm Haitian.
Okay.
And you were speaking about generation wealth.
Okay.
And I clearly agree on what you're saying about generation wealth. But there's a problem with that, with this generational wealth in America.
I'm listening.
Especially on a black community side.
Okay.
Now, when anybody speaks to me about generation wealth, I have a problem with that. The reason why I have a problem with that is because when you invest and when you invest into real estate and you invest in whatever investment that you invest in, the person that actually benefit from the investment is not you. It's not the person that, like, for example, like a real estate business, right? Like, you bought the house and you got a tenant in the house. The person that really benefit from that whole image is the white folks, is the bank. Is not you as a black person that benefits from it. So back to the generation wealth, I have a problem with Uncle Sam. Not the generation health problem. I have a problem with Uncle Sam because when you speak about generation wealth, the funds got to come from a black household. They have to invest into a black household. The fund, the income has to go back into a black household. It can't go into a white household. Does that make sense to you? What I'm trying to explain.
I hear what you're saying, but what you said is completely wrong in regards of building wealth. Because in order to build wealth, you have to understand that bartering has been a way of life since the beginning of time. You have to be able to barter in order to get something in return. So if I'm getting an asset, I didn't cut you off. I didn't cut you off though. I heard you completely out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna listen to you. Let me hear what you got to say because I want to hear you because I want to be able to express myself. Go ahead, say what you're about to say.
What I'm trying to say is the way I wanted to explain this to you is this way. I'm gonna point out two pictures to you.
Okay.
You in America.
Okay.
You in America. You get funded. You go invest and you invest. Now you have income coming in.
Okay.
Right. Now you having income coming in. Now you have to pay wherever you bought that money from.
Okay.
Which is Uncle Sam, which is a white household. It's not a black household. It's a white household.
Okay.
So now the second picture, we as Black Americans go somewhere else outside of America, create our own funding, create our own real estate portfolio, create our own system. Now we funded someone else the money. That person go invest, and now that person is having an income. Now that income go back to you, and then that income go back to a black household. That's, to me, that's the generation wealth, because we building our own system, we building our own rules, we building our own thing. The money go back to the black community, not a white household. Do you understand?
Now, I understand what you're saying, but logic says that in order to build wealth, you have to take on debt. And by taking on debt, you have to take it on from an institution that's willing to lend you. And the institution that happens to be heavily in America is white institutions. So therefore, I have to take on debt in order to acquire wealth. There is no wealth building without debt. You have to take on debt. So with debt, it can be looked at as a good or a bad thing. But debt technically is a good thing, because if you learn that bartering debt build you wealth. And there's another way that you could be smart with your debt, because you know why? You don't have to pay it back yourself. That's what they don't teach you. I put a young guy into a position where right now he owns a house. He lives in his basement, and his 2 top levels pays his mortgage, and he's living mortgage free. And he's using his money, right, that he's saving from not paying the mortgage, and he's about to close on his second property in the next 2 months. So that's how you have to learn how to barter. It's about taking on debt and how you're doing debt. Some people work hard to pay off debt. Some people are smart with debt, because when they take on debt, they make someone else pay off the debt. The same thing the institutions do. They give you your money because they want you to work hard to pay them. So therefore, you have to learn that in America, we do not leave a system that we helped build. America, we helped build this. We helped build this. And it's our birthright to be able to own something here, because we did help build this. But the thing is, we didn't build no institutions for lending. We need more institutions for lending that look like us. So therefore, we able to pay back into black institutions. So let me ask you a question.
For me,
you Haitian American, though, right?
Yes.
So you can trace your roots to Haiti. So therefore, it's more feasible for you to go invest in Haiti, because you do come from roots of Haiti, where you can track where your grandmother grew up at, and your mother grew up at, and your dad. But the difference is, what about a black American who can only trace their roots to the doorstep of America? So you basically tell him to go invest in land that he has no roots in, he doesn't know anything about, but yet still he knows his roots here, and his ancestors helped build here, which allows a Haitian like you to come here to be able to build something and have the opportunities that the Americans of yesterday sacrificed for you. So you tell them to forget all the things you've done for here, right? Walk away from it. But you help build it. I don't think that's smart. I don't think that's smart. A lot of valid points. But, I just think different, because I realize that as a culture, we need to realize that the people of yesterday is actually the reason why we have the rights here. And you have to learn that we shouldn't walk away from our rights here to go run somewhere else that's unknown, when we already know that we've made sacrifices for here. You got some people, they got 7 generations of an area that they have a right there. They helped build it. You got people that worked on the railroads. Their ancestors worked on the railroads that allow New York to get all the way to California. Rob, I agree. So how do you have a life here, but you start your early investments elsewhere? That's how most of us get robbed. I agree. And me personally, that's why I said, I understand his premise. Let me not talk like I'm talking disrespectful to him, and I understand his stance. But he's able to track his roots all the way to Haiti. So therefore, it makes sense for him. But a person that's born here, that's been here for generations, that's the same way he feels compelled to go invest in Haiti. They feel the same way about New York City. They feel the same way about Atlanta, Georgia, where they from. They feel the same way about Texas. They feel the same way about Philly. This is where they from. So therefore, this is generations. I don't think it's an equal playing field when you think about it. It's not the same metric, you know? It's not the same metric. A lot of people haven't even been to Africa, but you're going to go start putting money into their land. I get it, and I understand we want to get back to the motherland, but at the end of the day, let's visit the motherland before we start putting money into the motherland. Let's go learn it. Let's go see it. Let's go track our roots, right? Let's go see who we genuinely are. Let's go see the slaveholders in Guinea and all of these things. I'm with all that. Let's learn ourselves first, right? But guys, today was a dope episode. We talk about inheritance of hopelessness. I love you guys for always showing up and showing out. And to my guy that called in today, I love you, I value you. And a disagreement don't mean that we have a problem. Let's just have that on, let's get that on record, right? But again, in order to fix the problem, we have to identify that we are the problem. We have to change our mentality so we can change our reality. Because if we keep behaving such, we're going to continue to have the poor results. Because I'm going to say this before I get out of here today. I could never look at a woman and not see that together we're stronger. I don't know how people can't look at each other and not see that we're stronger standing united. Because divided you shall fall, right? United you shall stand, right? United we stand, and divided you shall fall. A lot of people are falling because they're too divided, right? Till next time, guys. Don't let that go over your head.